5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Greetings. We're on location with Brother Abdul Hadi, the brother of Suliaman El Hadi. And we're paying homage to this great brother because he left a body of work that needs to be in the archives of history and the archives of social media and in the archives of spoken word, and definitely along with the other great poets that Africa has produced. Brother Saeed, welcome to the Job Man Caravan.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. What we would like to do is continuation on what we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, at the ACAF.
Yes, at ACAF, presenting what I call a tribute to a Sheikh.
A Sheikh.
Which is poetry written by my late brother, El Hadi Sheikh Suliaman El Hadi, of the Last Poets. Many people don't understand or realize that the Last Poets were a group of brothers, and there was more than just 2 or 3. There were 7 initially. But each poet wrote their own poetry. So a lot of times when you hear somebody say the Last Poets, they go off into, oh yeah, the revolution won't be televised. No, that was Scott Herring. Or they go off into...
Which was a spinoff.
Right. Or they go off into... Beyond...
Who was inspired by the poet.
They go off into Beyond, one of the poems by Umar bin Hassan, Niggas Are Scared of Revolution. But they don't understand that the poems were written by the poets themselves. So they all love the poem Delights of the Garden, which was the signature poem of my brother and Jalal Mansour Nuruddin. That was their signal poem. The circumstance was that when Jalal joined the group, he was a non-Muslim. His name was Alafia. May Allah be pleased with him. He's passed on now. And when he joined the group non-Muslim. But when Suleiman joined the group, then Jalal became Muslim. And you can definitely hear the flavor change in the poetry between the time that he recorded in 1968 and the time he recorded in 1961. You can definitely hear the difference. So what we were trying to do was present my brother Suliaman El Hadi as one of the Last Poets, separate from the Last Poets, because the Last Poets are still functioning. Umar bin Hassan and Abu Udum, they're still recording and reciting as the Last Poets, you know. So what I like to present is, first of all, I'm going to see if I can show you a couple of photos of my brother.
Okay, you're going to bring me up to his childhood, to his adult, yes, whatever you have.
Yeah.
So share it with us.
The first thing, well, and he's 10 years older than me, so I ain't a whole lot I can do other than what I remember him telling me. Like I remember him telling me that he tried to cook me one time, put me in the oven when I was about 3 years old. He was playing with me and he put me in the oven. So if I'm 3, he's like 13, 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one time, and I was about 5 or 6. And he and some of my cousins were playing in the house. And my dear old brother, he put a 22 bullet on the gas stove, and it went off. And it shot me, and the mark is still here, right here. And I'm 72 now. But the mark is still right here on my hand, you know what I mean? The biggest thing I remember, my brother, is when I was about 9. I remember my brother, he used to... maybe a little younger than 9. He used to tie a turban on his head, a towel on his head like a turban. And he would put, my father used Maybelline mascara for his eyes and mustache. And he would take this mascara and he would put it on his lip, and he would put it on his chin. And then he would have us do this to him, Your Royal Highness, which is bowing down. Now the thing was that there was nobody, he was the oldest, so there was nobody else in the family that had any remnants of putting on a turban on the head or putting a beard on the face or nothing like that, and then doing the kind of prostration movements that Muslims do. So wherever he got it from, that was how he was rolling. By the time I was 9, so by the time he was like 17, 18 years old, he was a Muslim. He changed his name, and he became affiliated with an organization called Ikhwan Muslimun, which was at 55th and Girard here in Philadelphia. and they were selling the Pittsburgh Courier, which was a black newspaper at the time, and it had inside of
The black newspaper.
yeah. Well, there was also the Afro.
But the Pittsburgh Courier was
the one.
Was the bomb.
And
yeah.
that might have been because one of the articles that they had in this paper was called Muhammad Speaks.
Muhammad Speaks.
And it was a
absolutely.
1-column article. And the brothers were using that paper to show the neighborhood that, listen, there's something other than Christianity. Here's a black man that's talking about something called Islam. So that was what they were using. And I was their paper boy. So I had an opportunity to be around Muslims, to be around what they were doing in the masjid. I was seeing them making their prayers. And after I got grown, I was around some pretty famous people. Dakota Stanton was there as a Muslim woman. In fact, her husband was the imam of the mosque at that time. Lynn Hope, Rashid was there at that time. Because I didn't know all
Saxophonist.
this. The saxophonist.
Yeah.
I didn't know all of this until after I was grown and everything. But this was at a time when my brother was in town here, and an incident occurred where I don't know what that was, but I remember my mother telling me, and I remember him saying it too, that Frank Rizzo threatened his life. Frank Rizzo said that he was going to kill him.
I think you mentioned that in that
Yeah, I
last
mentioned
interview.
it before, right?
Yeah.
So he left and went to New York, and he stayed in
Who
New
went
York.
to New York? Your brother?
Suliman, my brother.
Suliman, uh-huh.
He left and went to New York, and he stayed in New York until he died. Now, once he got to New York, like I said, he's 10 years older than me. So once he got to New York, I'm not really privy with a whole lot,
Another thing happening in New York.
Even though I used to visit him often, and I met plenty of his friends in New York who were Rajab Mahmoud, who gave me my shahada, who was the first imam of what became the Dar Islam movement, the late Yahya Abdul Kareem, the late Bashir Ahmed, and I met a lot of people through my brother up in New York. When he got into the Last Poets, because the story was that I believe it was Abi Odun, Jalal, and Umar bin Hassan. I think they recorded the first album of the Last Poets.
Yeah.
But then Abi Odun,
At last.
Abi Odun, he wound up not being with the group for whatever reason. And Umar had a falling out with Jalal. And whatever it was, not Umar, David Nelson. David Nelson was no longer in the group, so it was two people. It was Umar and Jalal. And Jalal felt like he wanted a third party because that's what's on the album. So he wanted a third party to be in the Poets, and David
Including the conga player.
Yeah, David Nalaja, right, the community Nalaja. And so David Nelson invited my brother to, sent Jalal to my brother. My brother was in the hospital. And he recited to him Before the White Man Came.
Which is one of my favorite poems.
Yeah, if you want me to, I'll give it to you. But it's in the book. It's in the book, The Last Poets. He recited that poem, and Jalal said, "Listen, you get out the hospital, you got a job." He got out the hospital, and I think the first week he got out the hospital, Umar bin Hassan wasn't able to show for a show at the Apollo, and my brother went to the Apollo with Jalal and did his first
And lit it up.
first performance.
And lit it up.
I mean, so from that point to the time he died in 1995, actually, he and Jalal were the last poets. So.
Brother Saeed, a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't think you've ever acknowledged or mentioned the fact that you're an imam.
Well, one of the things in my family, I'm the baby, he was the oldest. My parents were religious people. And my
Religious
mother-
meaning Christians.
Yeah, they were Christians, and
Uh-huh.
my father was a preacher in the church. And
Oh,
whatnot,
man.
you know what I mean? But my mother's people were educators, so my mom put emphasis on education. Everybody got to be educated, and in that education, they were writers. They were right. Suliman wrote a poem for me to say. I was about 6 or 7. He wrote a poem for me to say at church on Easter. And I remember that. The poem was, "What you looking at me for? I didn't come to stay. I just came to wish you a happy Easter day." So we had this thing of writing, and I did some writing on my own, at one point, But then when Suliman joined the group, Last Poets, and he was at the house or whatnot, you know what I mean? So I said, "Hey man, can I get in the group with y'all?" Suliman said, "No." He said, "No." He said, "Because you can't travel around town as long as mom's around. You got to stay in town with mom and pop. So you can't join the group." Even though I was their, not manager, I was their point person. If they came to town, I was the one that they was dealing with.
Okay.
I got them places to stay.
You want to get to the last part? Let's get
Actually-
to Brother Saeed.
Exactly, exactly. In other words, they stayed at my house. You know what I
Understand.
mean? When they did that thing, "Oops with You," they came through me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? When they was at community college, they came through me. So I was like always had my hands in them.
Okay.
When he debuted his last trilogy, Unholy Alliance, in Washington, at the Kilimanjaro, I think was the name of the club. But I was the one that they took with me. I got in like I'm their manager. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I got you.
So but I was going to show.
Okay, let's look at some of
if
those
I could.
photos, brothers.
I'm not sure if you can see this picture, but
Well,
this
let
was
me
a
try.
picture of him.
Let me try.
That's a picture of him when he was in graduating from high school.
Okay, I think we got it.
Okay.
We got as much of it as we're going to
Right.
get.
Okay. Right. And this is a picture.
Hold up, man. Hold up. So what do we have here, Brother Saeed?
Here we have the only family photograph of my family. This includes my parents and all of my siblings. So you have my father, James Leroy Williams, Reverend James Leroy Williams. You have my mother, Viola Judy Witherspoon Williams, both are deceased at this moment. My sister, Patricia, who is currently living up in Winfield. My brother, DeHaven, who is deceased. And here is Sheikh Suliman.
How was it?
How old was he?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, let me see. This picture was taken at my parents' 54th wedding anniversary. 19 must have been 1980.
Teenager?
No. We were all grown here.
Okay.
We were all grown here. You know what I mean? I'm the baby, and this is me here.
Okay.
And then my brother Melvin, he's still alive, and my brother Ralph, who lives in Texas. Like I said, my parents pushed education. He graduated from college. He's now a retired captain of the United States Air Force.
Okay.
With a master in education.
Okay.
And she's a retired social worker.
She,
My sister Patricia.
okay.
She's a retired social worker.
Okay.
And,
So go age-wise.
well, it's okay. So age-wise, Suliman's the oldest, right here. Then there's brother Ralph, right here. Then there's sister Pat, right here. And then there's brother Melvin, right here. And then there's my brother DeHaven, right here. And then me,
Okay.
the youngest. Now,
Okay.
also age-wise, my mother is older than my father.
Okay. Now, what was that photo taken, Brother Saeed?
That was taken at 57th and Woodcrest at my parents' 54th wedding anniversary celebration.
Was that their house?
Well, it's my sister's house.
Your sister's house?
My
Okay.
sister's house.
All right.
My sister's house. And that was, like I said, that was after the celebrations and all of that. Before Suliman left town, before he left town. We all got together and took this picture.
Okay, great. Let's keep moving.
Okay?
Uh-huh. Something.